Hi friends, welcome back to Nourish and Bloom, where we dive into real food, real science, and real healing. Today we're unpacking something that is hiding in plain sight: sugar. Sugar may be obvious in certain sugary foods like soda, sugary drinks, cakes, ice creams, but not so obvious in so-called health foods like granola, flavored or low-fat yogurts, salad dressings, packaged natural fruit juices, and so many others. Sugar is silently fueling a lot of chronic diseases like diabetes, fatty liver disease, and heart disease. Please stick with me till the end, where we'll be sharing simple swabs that can help you cut down on your sugar intake. Now let's get to this. Did you know that taking a single sugary drink can increase your chances of developing type 2 diabetes? Also, making overly processed foods like pasta and bread a regular part of your diet can also increase your chance of developing diabetes. Studies have linked excess sugar intake to fatty liver disease, inflammation, hypertension, and obesity. Most people think it's just about weight gain when you're talking about sugar, but sugar is biologically addictive and triggers a hormonal cascade that spikes up your insulin levels. When your sugar levels are high, it could cause you to become insulin resistant. Most people go about their day without even knowing that they are insulin resistant because it doesn't show a lot of symptoms, especially in the early stages. Insulin resistance leads to a lot of chronic diseases. Now, what is insulin resistance? Let's say you take a sugary food or a sugary meal or any food high in carbohydrates. What happens is that the body breaks this down to glucose. Glucose gets absorbed into your bloodstream, and when it surpasses a particular level, the pancreas sends out a hormone known as insulin. What does insulin do? Insulin is like a messenger. It goes about the cells trying to tell them, can you please open up and take up this glucose, because we have a lot of glucose in the bloodstream. This is so because when you have too much glucose in your blood, it tends to be harmful to your health. Now, if your cells are functioning properly, they open up, they take up this glucose, and they utilize it as energy. It converts glucose to energy. But when we keep eating, especially when we eat frequently, insulin, the messenger, sends out a message to the cell again, asking them to please take up glucose. At this point, these tests are stuffed up. They are filled up. They don't want food anymore. And they kind of, nah, we are good. What happens? The brain senses this and urges the pancreas to produce more insulin, because sugar needs to be gotten out of your bloodstream, especially when it exceeds a particular level. Like I said, this is harmful to you. Eventually, the cells listen, they open up, they take up this glucose, it utilizes this glucose, and then that is that for that day. But when this incident or this cycle keeps repeating itself, the cells build up resistance, so that whenever insulin comes knocking and saying, can you take up glucose? We have too much glucose in your blood. Remember, your body is programmed in such a way as to protect itself. Now, when insulin comes back to these cells, asking them to take up the glucose, they become stubborn. They refuse to take up this glucose. And then that is when an individual is said to be insulin resistant. Insulin resistance is a big problem because it causes a lot of chronic conditions. It can lead to diabetes. It can increase the LDL cholesterol in your body. It increases the triglycerides, and it just becomes harmful to your body as a whole. Apart from that, high levels of glucose and insulin causes you to develop inflammation in your arteries. And what this may lead to is that it may lead to stroke or heart attack. When you also have high levels of glucose or insulin, it can cause you to develop fatty liver disease, even if you're not that kind of person that takes alcohol. Insulin resistance also causes you to store fat in your body, especially around the midsection, the belly area. And when you see some people around their 40s and above having this condition, which is known as the metabolic syndrome, it's just one of the conditions that involves other symptoms that could also lead to a lot of chronic conditions. Too much glucose and insulin in your blood can cause one to develop Alzheimer's disease, also known as type 3 diabetes. It can cause your kidneys to malfunction. Glucose may stick around your skin, making you look older than your age. So this generally does not suit any individual in any way. Now there's some good news here. And the good news is that insulin resistance can be reversed. And that is where you come in. Insulin resistance is mainly diet and lifestyle driven. And making these simple swaps can put you in the right path of your cells becoming more sensitive to insulin. Swapping whole grain and fiber-rich foods such as vegetables for overly processed foods like pasta and bread, taking fruits instead of sweet drinks to help you curb your sugar cravings, taking things like oatmeal and cinnamon with probably banana and berries instead of sugary cereals. Making these simple swaps can put you in the right path to cutting down your sugar intake and making you a healthy person overall. Now, there are also some certain lifestyle changes you should consider. Things like exercise, managing your stress levels can also help your cells start becoming more insulin sensitive. And there's one thing I've found that actually works, and that's intermittent fasting, which means eating within a particular window and not snacking after you have had your main meals. What this does is that it gives your body the chance to be able to digest the food you have eaten, use up this glucose, and not overwhelm it with other foods. And that's what snacking does. When you snack or when you eat in between meals, you give your body too much work to do. And that's when insulin keeps getting pumped into the bloodstream. But if you're able to observe intermittent fasting and eat just within a particular time frame without snacking, your body is able to digest this food and the insulin you have is able to just focus at that time when you have eaten the meal and be able to recover so that your cells can start getting sensitive to insulin again. If this video has opened your eyes to the sugar trap, I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Also, please don't forget to share to friends and loved ones that you know may really need this. I will be leaving a link below for some sugar smart recipes that teaches you how to make certain smoothies and beverages at home that can also help you curb your sugar cravings. Also, please don't forget to stick with us in the videos to come as we'll be sharing some diabetic friendly and pre-diabetic friendly meals which can be made and enjoyed by anyone that is willing to stay healthy. Thank you for sticking with Nourish and Do.